They say betrayal feels like a punch to the gut. But they're wrong. It's slower than that. It's colder. It seeps in quietly, like frost under the door, unnoticed at first, until you realize everything you touched is frozen and breaking apart beneath your feet. My name is Richard. I'm not flashy. I don't light up rooms or dominate conversations. But I build stability. I show up. I take care of the people I love. I believed that was enough. That being loyal, honest, and consistent would be the foundation of a lasting marriage. I married Anna 9 years ago. She was fierce, sharp, endlessly driven. I was steady, calm, a problem solver. She lit the fires, I kept them going. We weren't perfect, but we were real. Or at least I thought we were. We built a life filled with inside jokes, long drives, shared playlists, and quiet evenings where a glance was more intimate than words. We had our favorite wine, our favorite movie to fall asleep to, our little Sunday rituals. We were us. And then we had them, Mark and Laura. They came into our lives like a second son. Laura had this magnetic kindness. Mark was charismatic, smart, ambitious. He and I clicked instantly. Same sports teams, same sarcasm, same obsession with ribs on the grill. He became like a brother to me. We did everything together, double dates, trips, even home projects. I helped him renovate his deck. He helped me fix a leaky pipe in our kitchen. The women? Practically sisters. Morning yoga, boutique cafes, wine and vent nights every Friday. They confided in each other about everything. Or so I thought. We were two couples sharing one beautiful, interconnected friendship. Looking back, I see it now. The cracks weren't sudden. They were slow, like hairline fractures behind the paint. Anna started getting distant. Not dramatic, not cruel, just less present. Less curious about my day. Less affectionate. Her hugs became lighter, her laughter shorter. Her phone became a permanent extension of her hand. She used to toss it on the couch for hours. Now she kept it on her like it was a pacemaker. The first time she flinched when I reached for her phone, I pretended not to notice. The second time, I forced a smile. The third time, I asked her if everything was okay. Just work stress, she said, as not meeting mine. I believed her. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You believe them, even when your gut whispers otherwise. I thought maybe I was the problem. Maybe I'd gotten too comfortable. Maybe I'd stopped making her feel wanted. So for our anniversary, I decided to reignite the spark. I spent weeks researching the perfect gift, not flashy, but meaningful. A white gold pendant necklace with a delicate constellation of diamonds. Handcrafted, subtle, elegant. Just like her. I even booked us a weekend away in a private cabin in the mountains. Somewhere quiet, disconnected from Wi-Fi, noise, and obligations. Just the two of us. Just us, like old times. I rehearsed how I'd give it to her. I imagined the warmth in her smile, the touch of her fingers on mine, the kiss that would follow. But the night before I was going to surprise her, something changed. Anna was in the shower. Her phone buzzed. Once. Then again. Then a third time. And I did something I swore I'd never do. I picked it up. They say once you look, you can't unsee. And I saw everything. The moment my thumb hovered over Anna's phone, I felt my heartbeat in my ears. I told myself I was only checking for emergencies, that it could be work, or mom, Laura. But the truth is, something inside me already knew. The phone wasn't locked. Not that night. Maybe she forgot. Maybe she got careless. Or maybe, on some level, she wanted to be caught. The first message was from a contact saved under M. Just an initial. Subtle. Suspicious. I opened it, and my entire body locked up. M. Last night was unreal. I can still smell you on me. Anna. Stop. I'm still wet just thinking about it. Can't wait till the next yoga night. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I sat down on the bed, the phone in my hand, the sound of the shower like static in my head. Yoga night. That's what she told me she and Laura did together. Every Friday. Only now I realized, it wasn't Laura she was seeing. It was Mark. My best friend. My brother in everything but blood. I kept scrolling. I shouldn't have. But I did. There were weeks' worth of messages. Some playful. Some explicit. Some heartbreakingly mundane. Anna, do you think he suspects anything? Mark, nah. Rich is too trusting. It's almost sad. That one nearly made me vomit. I had stood beside that man while he cried at his father's funeral. I'd helped him patch up his marriage with Laura during their rough patch 2 years ago. And he'd called me sad? I kept reading. The texts weren't just about sex. They were about me. About how boring I'd become. How predictable. How I was more of a roommate than a husband. It wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation. In my own house. In my own bed. By the two people I trusted most in the world. The water stopped running. I quickly placed the phone back, face down, exactly how she'd left it. I sat frozen on the edge of the bed, trying to breathe, trying not to explode. She stepped out in a towel, humming softly. When she saw me, her smile faltered, just for a fraction of a second. That's when I knew. Deep down, she knew the truth was no longer hidden. I looked at her and said nothing, just smiled, because I already had a plan. If they thought I was the boring one, they had no idea who they were dealing with. They say revenge is best served cold. I say it's best when they don't even know it's coming. That night, as Anna dried her hair and laid out her silk sleepwear, I lay beside her like everything was normal. I held her close like I always did. I even kissed her forehead and told her how excited I was for our weekend together. I became the version of me she used to love, the predictable husband, the sweet one, the fool who never saw it coming. Inside, I was burning, but I knew if I confronted her now, she'd deny everything. Cry. Twist the story. Maybe even delete the messages before I could prove anything to Laura. No, that wasn't good enough. I wanted more than justice. I wanted silence to speak for me. I wanted evidence, and I wanted a moment she would never forget. The next morning, I got up early and made her favorite coffee, cinnamon oat milk latte with just a pinch of honey. She blinked at me like she didn't know who I was. Someone's feeling romantic, she smiled. You deserve it, I said. I watched her sip it, the steam curling up toward her perfect face, and I told myself, you can act for a few more days. You've already acted for months without knowing it. Now, do it with purpose. Over the next few days, I quietly copied everything from her phone using a simple syncing app. Every text, every voice memo, every location ping. I created a backup that even she couldn't erase. And while I did that, I kept playing the part. Flowers, massages, breakfast in bed, the pendant. Ah, yes, the necklace. That part was my favorite. We were seated at a fancy rooftop restaurant, candles flickering between us, soft jazz humming in the background. She was dressed in a navy blue dress, her skin glowing under the city lights. She looked stunning, like the woman I had once fallen for. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the velvet box, and slid it across the table. Her eyes widened. What's this? Open it. She opened the box and gasped. Richard, it's beautiful. I smiled warmly. You're beautiful. She reached across the table and took my hand. Thank you. This means a lot. You mean a lot? I said softly. And I meant it, just not the way she thought. She wore the necklace proudly that night, unaware that it would become the symbol of her downfall. Because along with that necklace, I had one more gift prepared, and this one came in a manila envelope. She wore the pendant every day after that dinner, and every day, I watched her admire it in the mirror, tracing the chain with her fingers like it meant something pure. I watched her take selfies wearing it. I watched her show it off to Laura, not knowing that she was flaunting betrayal inches from the woman whose life she was also helping destroy. And that was the final nail. I wasn't going to just leave Anna. I was going to expose her, not out of spite, but out of principle. See, I knew Laura deserved the truth just as much as I did. I couldn't look that woman in the eye, knowing her husband had been screwing mine behind both our backs. So I made sure that when the curtain fell, it fell on all of them. It started with a dinner invitation. I texted Laura and Mark and invited them to our place. Anna helped me plan it, blissfully unaware that the only thing on the menu was devastation. I printed out the texts, not screenshots. Printed. Over 50 pages of filth. I highlighted the worst ones. The ones where they mocked us, laughed at us, planned around us. Then I prepared 2 envelopes. One labeled, to Mark. The other, to Laura. Each one packed with exactly what they needed to see. And then, there was a 3rd envelope. A thick one. Inside, divorce papers. Already signed by me. Filed. Finalized as soon as Anna signed. It was all ready. The jewelry, the wine, the fake smile, and the dagger behind it all. That night, they arrived on time. Laura brought wine. Mark brought his smug grin. I kept mine in check. We laughed, toasted, played the part. Anna even made a toast to lifelong friendships. Oh, the irony. Then I stood up and said I had gifts for everyone. Since we're all so close, I wanted to share something personal. I handed each of them their envelope and sat back down. The silence that followed was delicious. Mark's smile froze first. His eyes scanned the pages in disbelief. Laura blinked rapidly, flipping through each line like she was drowning and every word was an anchor. And Anna? She didn't even open hers. She just stared at me. Richard, what is this? She whispered. I leaned in and said quietly, everything you thought I didn't know. Laura stood up first, hands shaking, face pale. She slapped Mark across the face so hard it echoed. He didn't even try to stop her. He just sat there, frozen, lips parted. Anna stood next, her voice trembling. You went through my phone? No, I said. I went through the truth. And I found a version of you I never thought existed. I slid the final envelope across the table to her. What's this? She asked, barely able to speak. Freedom, I said. Yours. And mine. I don't remember everything about that night. Not the order in which the shouting started. Not who left first. Not whether it was raining when the door slammed shut behind them. What I do remember, with absolute clarity, is the silence that followed. It was different than before. Not tense. Not heavy. Just still. Like the storm had finally passed, and the wreckage was all that remained. Anna sat across from me, her face pale, lips trembling, mascara smudged from tears she hadn't expected to cry. She clutched the envelope in her hands like it was a live wire. For once, she had nothing to say. No lies left. No clever justifications. Just silence. I stood up. I didn't yell. Didn't insult her. I simply said, I hope one day, when you look at that necklace, you remember not the gift, but the cost. Then I walked upstairs, packed my bag, and left. No theatrics. No drama. Just a man finally reclaiming the dignity that had been stolen from him in whispers and text messages. In the weeks that followed, there were the usual things: lawyers, paperwork, statements, signatures. Anna tried calling. Once. I let it ring. She didn't try again. Laura, for her part, thanked me. Through tears, she said, if you hadn't shown me, I would have kept building my life on a lie. We met for coffee once, just to talk. Not about them, about us. About healing. About what we would do with the trust we had left. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't closure. It was just two survivors, sharing silence over coffee, learning how to live again. 6 months later, I moved into a new apartment. Smaller. Simpler. But mine. I changed my routines. Got a dog. Went back to reading at night instead of overthinking. Learned to sit with my thoughts without drowning in them. And one day, I caught my reflection in the mirror and realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at her. Not at him. Not even at myself. I was free. And sometimes, that's the best revenge of all.